The first book of Samuel, chapter 1. The birth of Samuel. There was a certain man of Ramathaim of Zuphite from the hill country of Ephraim, whose name was Elkanah. He was the son of Jeroham, son of Elihu, son of Tohu, son of Zuph, an Ephraimite. He had two wives, Hannah and Peninnah. Peninnah had children, but Hannah had none. Every year Elkanah went to worship and to sacrifice to the Lord of hosts at Shiloh, where the two sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, were priests of the Lord. Whenever Elkanah offered sacrifice, he gave portions to his wife Peninnah and to all her sons and daughters. To Hannah, however, he gave a double portion because he loved her more, although the Lord had made her barren. Hannah's rival used to tease her, to irritate her because the Lord had made her barren. So it happened year after year, whenever they went to the Lord's house, Peninnah used to irritate her, and Hannah would weep and refuse to eat. Elkanah, her husband, asked her, "Hannah, why do you weep instead of eating? Why are you so sad? Are you not better off with me than with many sons?" After they had eaten and drunk in Shiloh, Hannah stood up and presented herself before the Lord not far from Eli the priest. His seat was beside the doorpost of the Lord's house. Deeply distressed, she wept and prayed to the Lord and made this vow. "O Lord of hosts, if only you will have compassion on your maidservant, if you remember me and do not forget me, if you give me a son, then I will give him to the Lord for as long as he lives. Neither wine nor liquor shall he drink, and no razor shall touch his head." As she prayed before the Lord, Eli observed the movement of her lips. Hannah was praying silently. She moved her lips but uttered no sound, and Eli thought Hannah was drunk. He therefore said to her, "For how long will you be drunk? Put away your wine." But Hannah answered, "No, my Lord, I am a woman in great distress, not drunk. I have not drunk wine or strong drink, but I am pouring out my soul before the Lord. Do not take me for a bad woman." I was so afflicted that my prayer flowed continuously. Then Eli said, "Go in peace, and may the God of Israel grant you what you ask for." Hannah answered, "Let your maidservant deserve your kindness." Then she left the temple, and when she was at table, she seemed no longer downcast. They arose early in the morning and worshipped before the Lord. Then they went back home to Ramah. When Elkanah slept with his wife Hannah, the Lord remembered her, and she became pregnant. She gave birth to a son and called him Samuel, because she said, "I have asked the Lord to give him to me." Once more Elkanah went to the temple with his family to offer his yearly sacrifice and to pay his vow to the Lord. Hannah would not go along, but she said to her husband, "I will bring the child there as soon as he is weaned. He shall be presented to the Lord and stay there forever." Her husband answered, "Do what seems best to you. Stay here until you have weaned the child, and may the Lord confirm your vow." So Hannah stayed behind and continued to nurse her son until he was weaned. When the child was weaned, Hannah took him with her along with a 3-year-old bull, an ephah of flour, and a leather flask of wine, and she brought him to the Lord's house at Shiloh. The child was still young. After they had slain the bull, they brought the child to Eli. Hannah said to him, "O my Lord, as sure as you live, my Lord, I am the woman who was standing here in your presence, praying to the Lord. I have asked for this child, and the Lord granted me the favor I begged of him. Now I, in turn, give him to the Lord. As long as he lives, he belongs to the Lord." And they worship the Lord there. 1 Samuel chapter 2, Hannah's Magnificat. Then Hannah offered this prayer, "My heart exults in the Lord, in my God is my strength exalted. I laugh at my foes, for I rejoice in your deliverance. There is no Holy One like the Lord. There is no one like you. There is no rock like our God. Speak proudly no more. No more arrogance on your lips, for the Lord is an all-knowing God. He it is who weighs the deeds of all. The bow of the mighty is broken, but the weak are girded with strength. The well-fed must hire themselves out for bread, but the hungry hunger no more. The barren wife has borne 7 children, but the mother of many is forlorn. The Lord is the giver of life and death. He brings down to the underworld and lifts up. The Lord makes poor and makes rich. He brings low and he exalts. He lifts up the lowly from the dunghill and raises the poor from the dust. He seats them with princes and assigns them a seat of honor. The pillars of the earth belong to the Lord, and on them he has set the world. He guards the steps of its faithful ones, but the wicked he makes to vanish into darkness. For no one succeeds by his own strength. The enemies of the Lord are shattered against them. He thunders from heaven. The Lord is judge to the ends of the earth. To his king he gives strength. The head of his anointed he lifts up. After that Elkanah went home to Ramah, while the boys served the Lord in the presence of Eli the priest. Eli's wicked sons. The sons of Eli were worthless men who had no regard for the Lord, nor for the priest's duties toward the people. When someone offered sacrifice, the servant of the priest would come with a 3-pronged fork while the meat was still boiling. With the fork, he would reach into the pan, kettle, cauldron, or pot, and all that the fork brought up would be for the priest. This is how these priests treated the Israelites who went to Shiloh. Sometimes the priest's servant would come before the fat was burned and would say to the man who was sacrificing, "Give meat for the priest to roast, for he will not accept boiled meat from you, only raw." And if the man answered, "Let the fat be burnt first and then take as much as you wish," he would say, "No, give it to me now, or else I will take it by force." The sin of these young priests was very great in the sight of the Lord, because they treated the offering of the Lord with disdain. Meanwhile Samuel, now a boy wearing a linen ephod, was ministering before the Lord. From time to time his mother made him a little robe, which she handed to him when she went out with her husband to offer the yearly sacrifice. Eli blessed Elkanah and his wife with these words, "May the Lord give you more children by this woman for the sake of the boy she asked for and then gave to the Lord." Then they would go home. The Lord blessed Hannah with more children. She had 3 sons and 2 daughters, while the boy Samuel grew in the presence of the Lord. Eli was now very old. He heard how his sons dealt with the Israelites and how they slept with the women who served at the entrance to the tent of meeting. So he told them, "How can you do the things I hear about you from everyone? No, my sons, what I hear from the people of the Lord is really bad news for me. When someone sins against another, God will mediate for him. But if he sins against the Lord, who can intercede for him?" Yet the 2 would not listen to their father, for the Lord had already decided that they should die. The boy Samuel in the meantime was growing in stature and in favor before the Lord and the people. Now a man of God came to Eli and said to him, "This is the Lord's word. I revealed myself to your ancestors when they were Pharaoh's slaves in Egypt. I chose them out of all the tribes of Israel to be my priests, to go up to my altar, to burn incense and to wear a priest's robe in my presence, and I gave them all the burnt offerings of Israel. Why do you keep a greedy eye on my sacrifices and the offerings that I myself ordered? Why do you give more importance to your sons than to me and fatten yourselves on the choicest parts of every offering made by my people Israel? Therefore the Lord, the God of Israel, declares, I promised that your family and that of your father should go on ministering before me forever. But now far be it from me. Those who honor me I shall honor. Those who despise me will be despised. The days are coming when I will break your strength and the strength of all your father's family. No one in your family will live to a ripe old age. Then in distress you will look on when I pour prosperity upon Israel, while no one in your family will live to a ripe old age. Those of your household that I do not reject from my service will be spared only to weep bitterly and live in grief, but the rest shall die by the sword. What will happen to your sons Hophni and Phinehas shall be a sign to you. Both of them shall die on the same day. I will raise up for myself a faithful priest who shall do what I have in heart and in mind. I will give him a lasting house, that he will serve me and my anointed one forever. And everyone that is left of your family shall come begging from the priest some money or a loaf of bread, saying, Appoint me, I beg you, for a priestly function, so that I may have something to eat. Psalm 112. In praise of the righteous. Alleluia. Blessed is the man who fears the Lord, who delights in his word. His children will be powerful on earth. The upright generation will be blessed. Wealth and riches are for his family. He will be revered for his generosity. In the darkness light dawns for the upright, for the Lord is gracious, merciful, and righteous. It will be well with him who lends freely, who leads a life of justice and honesty. For the righteous will never be moved. He will be remembered and loved forever. He will have no fear of evil news, for his heart is firm, trusting in the Lord. He need not fear, since his life is secure. He shall triumph over his foes. He has given generously to the poor. His virtue will last forever. His head will be raised in honor. The wicked will see this and be furious. He will gnash his teeth in seething envy. The desires of the wicked will come to nothing. Luke chapter 17, verse 1 to 19. Temptation to sin. Jesus said to his disciples, Scandals will necessarily come and make people to fall, but woe to the one who causes them. It would be better for him to be thrown into the sea with a millstone around his neck. Truly this would be better for him than to cause one of these little ones to stumble and fall. Be careful. If your brother offends you, rebuke him, and if he is sorry, forgive him. And if he offends you 7 times in a day, but says to you 7 times, I'm sorry, forgive him. The apostle said to the Lord, Increase our faith. And the Lord said, If you had faith at least as big as a mustard seed, you could say to this tree, Be uprooted and plant yourself in the sea, and it would obey you. If you have a servant coming in from the fields after plowing or keeping sheep, do you say to him, Come at once and sit down at table? No, you tell him, Prepare my dinner, put on your apron and wait on me while I eat and drink. You can eat and drink afterwards. Do you thank this servant for doing what you commanded? So you also, when you have done all that you have been told to do, you must say, We are no more than servants. We have only done our duty. The 10 lepers. On the way to Jerusalem, Jesus was passing along the border between Samaria and Galilee. And as he entered the village, 10 lepers came to meet him. Keeping their distance, they called out to him, Jesus, Master, have pity on us. Then Jesus said to them, Go and show yourselves to the priest. Now as they went their way, they found that they were cured. One of them, as soon as he saw he was healed, turned back, praising God in a loud voice, and throwing himself on his face before Jesus. He gave him thanks. This man was a Samaritan. Then Jesus said, Were not all 10 healed? Where are the other 9? Was no one found to return and give praise to God but this foreigner? And Jesus said to him, Get up and go your way. Your faith has saved you.